section of the book. It's the largest section of the book. And I have to say, when I read the book, I imagine if I took your name out of it, took away the awards and the acclaim, took the cover off the book, the publishing house goes away, the content of that section would not be out of place in the backpack of an extremist. And so then I found myself wondering, why does Ta-Nehisi Coates, who I've known for a long time, read his work for a long time.
Pause. That is dehumanizing. I think that is insane and dehumanizing, which is ironic because that's exactly what Ta-Nehisi just talked about, whether you believe who you believe is human and who you believe is not human. He just took away every piece of agency that he had and just judged the black and white text of like, no, this is, you're just...
I'm not a racist, freak the teacher. You still they never had this. Number one, never wanna run about the gun. I wasn't licensed to have one. The minute they see me, fear me. I'm the epitome of public enemy. Use, abuse, without screws. I refuse to blow fuse. They even had it on the news. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. When I wrote y'all, yes.
Next guest is the acclaimed New York Times best-selling author Ta-Nehisi Coates. His new book, The Message, is a trio of interconnected essays that examine how the stories we tell or avoid telling can shape and even distort our reality. In the book, Coates reflects on his emotional first trip to Africa to visit Dakar, Senegal. Then he takes readers to Columbia, South Carolina, where he reports on the attempted banning of one of his books on race. And finally, Coates travels to the Middle East to witness the Israeli-Palestinian conflict firsthand. Ta-Nehisi Coates, good morning. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Good morning, guys.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. You say that this book is written specifically for writers, stating that the task for young writers should be nothing less than changing the world. Why do you feel like writers should bear that responsibility?
Saving the world. Saving the world.
the
Just to be really specific. Writing is how we interpret so much of everything that is around us. The Message is a political book. It argues that much of our politics actually happens before we walk into a voting booth, that our choices around us, that who we believe is human, who we don't believe is human, what policies we believe should be in the world, which policies we don't, are actually shaped largely by writing and the stories we tell. And so I believe that writers, and particularly young writers, have so much to do in the politics and in this time when, obviously we have so much conflict and there's so many quote unquote issues.
Ta-Nehisi, I want to dive into the Israel-Palestine.
Pause. Be ready to pause because I'm going to be pausing a lot. No Diddy. Seeing us here. Teaching journalism for 25 years, one of the first things I would tell my students is that there's no such thing as being objective. Everybody comes to every story with your background, with your biases and all that. You don't leave them home. Come fully. Come into everything as your full self. The challenge is not to be objective. So what Ta-Nehisi is saying is your writers you must use your art to save the world, but you're saving the world because you are showing up. You're bringing some experiences to the table that wouldn't come unless you show up fully. Your job is not to fold yourself into a neat box for somebody else's comfort or to do what your editor tells you to do because they think they know and they've never been to that community in Brooklyn or they've never been to your neighborhood in Pittsburgh. They don't know anything, but you do. So the questions that you asked have to come from a place of knowing something more than what is out there and also discovery. But your job is to be fair. Like you're not shaping it. And what's about to happen, I feel like Tony came into it with a preconceived notion and he wasn't necessarily fair with Ta-Nehisi Coates, but something happened. All right, continue.
Section of the book. It's the largest section of the book. And I have to say, when I read the book, I imagine if I took your name out of it, took away the awards and the acclaim, took the cover off the book, the publishing house goes away, the content of that section would not be out of place in the backpack of an extremist. And so then I found myself wondering, why does Ta-Nehisi Coates, who I've known for a long time, read his work for a long time...
Pause. That is dehumanizing. I think that is insane and dehumanizing, which is ironic because that's exactly what Ta-Nehisi just talked about, whether you believe who you believe is human and who you believe is not human. He just took away every piece of agency that he had and just judged the black and white text of like, no, this is,
You're just reading this in a vacuum.
You can't take Ta-Nehisi out of this book, right? So if I took this away, it's
why
an
are you doing
extremist.
that?
That's when I knew. I was like, oh, he's about to.
Backpack of an extremist.
Yes. I said, oh, you
Thought
about
he
to
was
get your
like,
ass
I got
empty.
him now.
I rolled my hands together. I said, oh, this is going to be delicious. All right, Smith, continue.
Time, very talented, smart guy. Leave out so much. Why leave out that Israel is surrounded by countries that want to eliminate it? Why leave out that Israel deals with terror groups that want to eliminate it? Why not detail anything of the first and the second intifada, the cafe bombings, the bus bombings, the little kids blown to bits? And is it because you just don't believe that Israel, in any condition, has a right to exist?
Well, I would say the perspective that you just outlined.
Wait, pause. And bring it back, Smith. Bring it back to his answer. Maybe even repeat that because the setup, right? And this is, again, journalists, this is how you know it's unfair. Like he's not coming in fairly because your question is setting a parameter. You're actually painting Ta-Nehisi Coates in a way with your question. You're not asking a question, just asking a question. You're setting, what about the bombings and the little bits blown to bits? You know, like you're painting a picture and you're telling a story, and then you're a very smart man. It's so condescending. Like you're so articulate.
It's so condescending. And I find it so absurd that he's diving into this in such a visceral way to try to put Ta-Nehisi on the defensive so that he hopes Ta-Nehisi says, no, it has no right to. He jumped from right to exist from the book just about Palestinian lives and what's happening there to the understanding of it even existing, which the presumption and the inference that he's trying to get people to make there is that Ta-Nehisi Coates wants all Israelis to die.
That was it. I was like, wow.
I'm gonna take my shirt off. I'm getting
Okay. All right. Smith, continue.
Well, I would say the perspective that you just outlined, there is no shortage of that perspective in American media. That's the first thing I would say. I am most concerned always with those who don't have a voice, with those who don't have the ability to talk. I have asked repeatedly in my interviews whether there is a single network, mainstream organization in America with a Palestinian American bureau chief or correspondent who actually has a voice to articulate their part of the world. I've been a reporter for 20 years. The reporters of those who believe more sympathetically about Israel and its right to exist don't have a problem getting their voice out. But what I saw in Palestine, what I saw on the West Bank, what I saw in Haifa in Israel, what I saw in the South Hebron Hills, those were the stories that I have not heard. And those were the stories that I was most occupied with. I wrote a 260-page book. It is not a treatise on the entirety of the conflict between the Palestinians and the Israelis.
But if you were to read this book, you would be left wondering, why does any of Israel exist? What a horrific place, committing horrific acts on a daily basis. So I think the question is central and key. If Israel has a right to exist, and if your answer is no, then I guess the question becomes, why do the Palestinians have a right to exist? Why do 20 different Muslim countries have a right to exist?
My answer is that no country in this world establishes its ability to exist through rights. Countries establish their ability to exist through force.
Stop. Oh my God.
Yes. God. This is what's great, is that people forget that this is still a war that's been happening since 1948. Okay? This has just been there's been, they say this war, the 67 war. No. This has always been happening.
But beyond that, because this whole right to exist thing is a monkey paw, it's a trap. He tried to trap them with that. Oh, so they don't have a right to exist. He was like, no, all of these countries exist through force. Like, what conversation are we having right now? You make sure you have a right to exist because you have the weapons and the bombs to say so. I was like, oh, he just changed the conversation. I don't think Tony had an answer for that. But hold on, let's go back. Go ahead, Cena. I'm sorry, because this interview got me hyped.
This is why I I have people that ask me if I'm a Zionist or an anti-Zionist, and my response always to them is, what does that have to do with anything? It actually doesn't matter, because am I a Republican or anti-Republican? I'm not a Republican. Do I want to murder every Republican? No. This is what's so absurd about it. There's a concept in the law called adverse possession. It means you could take someone else's property by just staying there, making it a place that you protect and don't let them back in. And if you do it for a certain amount of time in the law, it's yours. You could do that, right? This is exactly how countries are made. They went there, they wrote letters to each other, the Zionist movement in the early 1900s. They wrote letters to each other from Europe and into, Palestine there. And they said to each other, the local Arabs here, the Palestinian Arabs, are not going to appreciate us coming in and establishing ourselves as an Israel as a Jewish state. And they did it anyways. And they had to fight for that right. They had to fight for that ability to just say, this is ours now. And so to say that you're against Zionism or it doesn't, or it should exist or not, they fought for it. It's still a fight that is ongoing. That's the big difference here.
And to your point, Cena Gadsby is here. It's the Karen Hunter Show. Just like Kamala Harris was asked about her race, she said, I'm not even going to respond to that because the question itself is flawed, to your point, right?
Yes.
And it's a setup. So, and then you're actually arguing that I don't want to kill people. Like, that should be on, that's obvious. I don't want anyone to die, right? And if I have to say it, I will, but you're asking the question to get me to say I want you to die. That's how you're framing it. So that if any answer I give,
that's good TV, Karen.
Yeah.
That's good.
I know.
Did it. We did it.
I
Good
know.
TV.
I know. But it's no fun when the rabbit has the gun. And Ta-Nehisi snatched that thing. It was like Bugs Bunny. Okay, bring it back a little bit, Smith, so that he can answer the question.
The world establishes its ability to.
Why do the Palestinians have a right to exist? Why do 20 different Muslim countries have a right to exist?
My answer is that no country in this world establishes its ability to exist through rights. Countries establish their ability to exist through force, as America did. And so I think this question of right to Israel does exist. It's a fact. The question of its right is not a question that I would be faced with any other country.
But you write a book that delegitimizes the pillars of Israel. It seems like an effort to topple the whole building of it. So I come back to the question, and it's what I struggled with throughout this book. What is it that so particularly offends you about the existence of a Jewish state that is a Jewish safe place and not any of the
Oh my God! Just
who said he was offended by Jewish? Like, you, dude. So people are like, oh, it was bad journalism. I'm like, anybody that is a news reader on television is not a journalist. Very few people sitting in those seats are journalists. They read from teleprompters. They have meetings where they discuss what they're going to talk about, but they're not going out. So the man read the book. That doesn't make him an expert, but the fact that you're shaping it in such a way that you're saying Ta-Nehisi Coates hates Israel and hates you, like, dude, really? That was so crazy. Play that again, Smith, because that was a crazy question.
topple the whole building of it. So I come back to the question, and it's what I struggled with throughout this book. What is it that so particularly offends you about the existence of a Jewish state that is a Jewish safe place and not any of the other states out there?
There's nothing that offends me about a Jewish state. I am offended by the idea of states built on ethnocracy, no matter where they are.
Muslim included.
I would not want a state where any group of people laid down their citizenship rights based on ethnicity. The country of Israel is a state in which half the population exists on one tier of citizenship, and everybody else that's ruled by Israelis exists on another tier, including Palestinian Israeli citizens. The only people that exist on that first tier are Israeli Jews. Why do we support that? Why is that okay? I'm the child of Jim Crow. I'm the child of people that were born into a country where that was exactly the case, of American apartheid. I walk over there and I walk through the occupied territories and I walk down a street in Hebron. And a guy says to me, I can't walk down the street unless I profess my religion. I'm with another pastor. No. I want to. This is very, very important.
It is important. It is
extremely important.
Yeah, let me lay it down.
I'm working with the person that is guiding me is a Palestinian whose father, whose grandfather and grandmother was born in this town. And I have more freedom to walk than he does. He can't ride on certain roads. He can't get water in the same way that Israeli citizens who live less than a mile away from him can.
And why
is that okay?
Why is that? Why is there no agency in this book for the Palestinians? They exist in your narrative merely as victims of the Israelis, as though they were not offered peace at any juncture, as though they don't have a stake in this as well. What is their role in the lack of a Palestinian?
I have a very, 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 very moral compass about this. And again, perhaps it's because of my ancestry. Either apartheid is right or it's wrong. It's really, really simple. Either what I saw was right or it's wrong. I am, for instance, against the death penalty. What the person did to get the death penalty, it really doesn't matter to me. I don't care if they were selling a nickel bag of marijuana or if they were a serial killer. I am against the death penalty. I am against a state that discriminates against people on the basis of ethnicity. I'm against that. There is nothing the Palestinians could do that would make that okay for me. My book is not based on the hyper-morality
What's the last
of the
message you
Palestinian
want
people.
in lessons? Because many people feel it's complicated.
Gail.
You say it's
We
not
have to
go.
complicated.
We have to go.
All right, let her go.
What's
Let
your
her go,
message?
Lesson
because she is asking nothing relevant. She's just trying to get the heat up off of Tony, because once he said, I'm a child of Jim Crow, the conversation shifted.
Yeah. You know, the producer got in Gail's ear, is like, we've got a cooking segment right after this. Can we wrap it up? We gotta bring it back. Bring it back. We gotta cook it. We're gonna bake cookies after this. We're making sugar cookies. Hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry, get the fuck out of there.
Yo.
Someone throw a football at Nate. Do something.
Listen,
Distract.
something. Either
They
apartheid's
said
wrong.
Jim Crow, the numbers are going down.
Yo, either it's wrong or it's not. Either you're for apartheid or yeah. Like he's like, I'm not even gonna answer all of that setup question bull crap that you. Either this is wrong or it's not. And if you think apartheid's okay, say it with your full chest.
And I think the death penalty point is so perfect. It is so perfect. And I personally went through this progression as well, because in law school I had a criminal law professor that was very pro the death penalty, and for a whole semester he drilled into us all of these crazy stories and how these people got the death penalty. And by the end of the semester I was like, wow, I'm for the death penalty. These people should be put to death. And then you read one story about how someone got put to death that was innocent, and you're like, well, I don't believe that anymore, because you're not going to do it 100% perfectly. You're just, it's never going to be perfect. And so if we kill someone with the death penalty and there's a chance, or if they are innocent, that means we all killed that person. This
That's
execution
right.
that just
That's
happened
right.
in Missouri, we all
Yes.
killed that man.
That's right. That's right.
And I don't like it. And that's not.
No,
that's not
it
okay.
feels
I'm against it.
horrible. And you know, we watched Marcellus. Well, we didn't, but Marcellus Williams fight for his life. People were fighting, million signatures, and they still killed him. And if you believe George Stinney, 14-year-old George Stinney, like that to me is the case to make to never have death. We have other ways of keeping people in jail forever. The death penalty is not, and it's usually in the hands of people who don't like certain kind of people anyway. And it's disproportionately used against black people. That should be enough. That should be enough. Yes, I think pedophiles should be on an island, like, you know, an island, like one of those islands, someplace out in
Manhattan.
No, well maybe Manhattan. I'm open to that. Well, we already have some other things going on in Manhattan. We're gonna talk about that later.
We got to talk about that. Yeah.
We're going to talk about that. I do want to play the end, because I think Ta-Nehisi, after Gail tried to jump on a grenade, using these words wisely. Okay, but yeah, Gail did try to wrap it up, because Tony couldn't let it go, because he is so tied to this thing. His children live there. I get it. Your children live there. Your ex-wife is there. You don't want anything to happen to them. It's very personal for you. For people who are listening, some of you, it's very personal for you. There's a fundamental issue, and it's global. We all love our cell phones, but are you okay with what's going on in Congo? Are you willing to put your cell phone down if it means life and liberty to the people in Congo, in the Democratic Republic of Congo? Like, at some point we need to have these existential conversations, because we're human and we should have these conversations. All right, play the last bit. Gail. Saying.
Based on the hyper-morality
What's the last
of the
message you
Palestinian
want
people.
in lessons? Because many people feel it's complicated. You say it's not complicated. Less than 20 seconds. What's your message?
Less than 20 seconds. I want people to read the book.
Well,
And I don't make the assumption that somebody would just read the book and have read nothing else about Israel
Okay.
and Palestine.
You're still invited to High Holidays. I'll see you at the show.
See, Ooh, hate that bull crap. Hate that bull crap. Don't. You're still invited. What?
I don't want what.
I don't want to even come to your damn high holiday thing. If you gonna come here and and let me just say this: people can
What if
disagree.
Tana-Hesse said you were never invited to the cookout?
Did he say? Wait, run that back. I didn't hear that. Did he say that?
He did.
Oh, okay.
He thought
Okay.
it. No, you were never invited.
Yeah, you never will come to the cookout, and I would agree with that. We are now in a time, and I think one of our callers, a new caller, illustrated. There was a time when we could disagree on politics, right? I've often told the story. My father voted for Reagan. My mother was like, "You must be out." There were fights in the house, but it wasn't going to be divorce, over it, because it was really a vote on politics, right, at the time. And I guess my father didn't know Reagan was going to be so horrible and do this war on drugs and destroy black communities at the time that he voted. He was voting his pockets as a small businessman, right? Sure. Today, when people say they're voting for Trump because of their pockets, I'm calling BS, because there's something different going on. And I'm not saying Trump is not Reagan in terms of horror. I'm saying that back then you could have an argument over politics. You can talk about Eisenhower versus we can have these discussions. And in many ways, Nixon wasn't the worst for black people. There were a lot of black ministers that did well when Nixon was in office, and small black businesses when Nixon was in office. But for Ehrlichman's thing, because two things were going on at the same time, you could have these political conversations. Today, it is not politics that we're voting for. And today, the kinds of discussions.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Why did you trouble? Why did you look for trouble? If you never trouble wouldn't trouble you. If you never trouble wouldn't trouble you. Listen to me, my friend. Stay away from trouble. Listen to me, my friend. Watch your step. Don't try to trouble the lion. Don't try to wake the lion, because he will hurt you. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Trouble is dangerous. Trouble will make you run up and down. Oh yeah. Why did you trouble? Why did you look for trouble? Why did you do it, my brother? It will make you have to run up and down, around and around. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Why did you trouble? It will hurt you. You know it's wrong, my brother. Why did you do it? Why did you look for trouble? Why did you trouble, Mr. Trouble? It's wrong. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Why did you trouble? Why did you look for trouble? If you never trouble wouldn't trouble you. If you never trouble wouldn't trouble you. Listen to me, my friend. Stay away from trouble. Listen to me, my friend. Watch your step. Don't try to trouble the lion. Don't try to wake the lion, because he will hurt you.
trouble, 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 they a bush, nobody bring it come my yard. If trouble, 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 they a bush, I make it and they want. Because the trouble in the bush should have stay and fade away, away. And the love in our yard, it should have carry on far. Because a bird in the hand is better than 1,000 birds in the bush. So make we buckle on to love. Come on, my brothers, let's push. Let us push on to love. Leave trouble, 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 they a bush, nobody bring it come my yard. No. If trouble, 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 they a bush, I make it and they want. Why yo, why yo, why yo, why yo, why yo, why? Why yo, why yo, why yo, why yo, why? Why yo, why? Why yo, why yo, why yo, why yo, why? Because a little bit of love is better than no love, love at all. So make we buckle on to love. Come on, my brothers, let's push. Let us push on to love. And if trouble, trouble, they a push, nobody bring it come my yard. Back where we them something they keep trouble, 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 they a push and make it and they want. Why yo, why yo, why yo, why yo?
this reggae music, you know. So we are going to go here because we have troubles. Too much troubles. I mean, I understand what they do with the provider, you know what I mean? Interruptions. So hold this, and hold it keenly. Reggae music, you know? Stop fighting, man.
Fighting, you're fighting, you're fighting, you're fighting, you're fighting. Yet you can't keep me down. You're fighting, you're fighting, you're fighting, you're fighting, you're fighting. Yet you can't keep me down. You fight against the youths of today, yeah. When they are the man of tomorrow.
See, and you kill them off. You see? And the world is watching. It's a shame. It's a shame. International racism. It's a shame. And the lies, oh gosh, man.
We don't need no more trouble. No more trouble. We don't need no more trouble.
See it? And at that, man, how much time we are going to tell you now? You think a joke? We set the tempo. You see? I will ask through the ICJ for help. And when I get no help. Charlie Chaplin, come here.
Oh, this one dedicated to all of the man them want sniff them liquor this and a sniff them liquor that. Well, me assure you say drugs is at this.
Oh, before you go, Charlie, before you go up this, hold this.
I'm not a racist, freak the teacher. You still they never had this. Number one, they wanna run about the gun. I wasn't licensed to have one. The minute they see me, fear me. I'm the epitome of public enemy. Use, abuse, without clues. I refuse to blow fuse. They even had it on the news. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Back when I wrote y'all, yes.
I want to dive into the Israel-Palestine section of the book. It's the largest section of the book. And I have to say, when I read the book, I imagine if I took your name out of it, took away the awards and the acclaim, took the cover off the book, the publishing house goes away, the content of that section would not be out of place in the backpack of an extremist.
I have a very, 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 very moral compass about this. And again, perhaps it's because of my ancestry. Either apartheid is right or it's wrong.
And I've been having this internal conversation about the power of media, but also our complicity, right? Because, you know, these narratives are crafted somewhere in a room, much the way, you know, folk got together and divvied up Africa a bunch of times. But the first time to divvy up Africa was about enslaving folk. Like in Portugal, y'all get these countries, and you know, Great Britain, you get the Caribbean Isles, and what we call the United States, you get the others, and you have this. You know, they divvied up the continent of Africa based on black bodies, and then they came back and did it again with King Leopold to divvy it up for resources. Right now, they're coming back and doing it again. Except now, a lot of these African nations and these Caribbean nations have what they call sovereignty, and they're not having it. And they're speaking out in a way that I have never seen before. And it's important, right? I sit here as a free black woman in America. And while, yes, my quote unquote income is tied to this space that we're in now, fortunately, it's not only tied to this space. And I could absolutely survive and thrive outside of this space. And that's an important thing because it allows you to be free and not be tethered to a conversation or a narrative, or be able to, because I'm sitting there watching Ta-Nehisi Coates today with Gayle King sitting there. I forgot the brother's name. He's very, very handsome. I think he used to play football, co-host. Yeah. And then Nate Burleson, thank you. And then the Tony guy is asking all of the questions, and they're sitting there, and I was like, is that for optics? Are y'all positioning? Because y'all had a meeting this morning.
It was
you had a meeting.
Extremely silent. Yeah.
Okay. You had a meeting and you decided that you were going to ambush this man because one of you read the book. Don't think all of you read the book. One of you definitely read the book and it was personal to you. So you took the lead to ask questions and you don't know the answers. You don't have the answers, Sway. You don't have the answers. So you're running into a thing with your limited view, but for the first time, you across from somebody who's free. Doesn't need your damn program to sell his books. I promise you, Ta-Nehisi Coates is going to sell his books. Okay. He was a bestseller Between the World and Me before y'all. Okay. He's doing you a favor coming on your little funky show that I don't know how many people watch.
What is it that so particularly offends you about the existence of a Jewish state that is a Jewish safe place and not any of the other states out there?
There's nothing that offends me about a Jewish state. I am offended by the idea of states built on ethnocracy, no matter where they are.
Muslim included.
I would not want a state where any group of people laid down their citizenship rights based on ethnicity. The country of Israel is a state in which half the population exists on one tier of citizenship, and everybody else that's ruled by Israelis exists on another tier, including Palestinian Israeli citizens. The only people that exist on that first tier are Israeli Jews. Why do we support that? Why is that okay? I'm the child of Jim Crow. I'm the child of people that were born into a country where that was exactly the case of American apartheid. I walk over there and I walk through the occupied territories and I walk down the street in Hebron. And a guy says to me, I can't walk down the street unless I profess my religion.
The freedom to be able to tell the damn truth and not be worried about who's going to cancel me. Malcolm, speaking the truth, the nation kicks him out because the heat is too hot. We can't withstand the heat that's coming down because you said the chickens are coming home to roost. You got to go. Sir, pack your bags. No. No, we can't. Martin Luther King, too hot. Black people like, bring in too many white people come. Yeah, they mad. You got white people mad? No, stop doing that. Stop it. We, and fear is important. It's an important emotion, I think, because the danger is real. You got people in here that will, Kyle Rittenhouse, walk into a protest and shoot people. You got people in this country that will absolutely blow up stuff and kill people just because, right? So I get the fear, but you can only die once. A coward dies 1,000 times, right? So,
the voice he had in that interview, I watched it multiple. I was like, oh, my chest was tightening up. I don't know. I mean, you know me. I'll pop off. I don't know if
yes,
I could.
You do. Yes, you do.
Just so. I just don't know if I. And when he was like, apartheid is either right or it's wrong.
Why leave out that Israel is surrounded by countries that want to eliminate it? Why leave out that Israel deals with terror groups that want to eliminate it? Why not detail anything of the first and the second intifada, the cafe bombings, the bus bombings, the little kids blown to bits? And is it because you just don't believe that Israel in any condition has a right to exist?
Well, I would say the perspective that you just outlined, there is no shortage of that perspective in American media. That's the first thing I would say. I am most concerned always with those who don't have a voice, with those who don't have the ability to talk. The reporters of those who believe more sympathetically about Israel and its right to exist don't have a problem getting their voice out. But what I saw in Palestine, what I saw on the West Bank, what I saw in Haifa in Israel, what I saw in the South Hebron Hills, those were the stories that I have not heard.
Sorry.
But what in that moment, we could have been had this, and I'm saying it just like we could have been had this conversation. This conversation needed to be had. What Ta-Nehisi Coates is bringing needed to be had. We should have always been having this conversation, but too many people were afraid that their personal economy might be impacted. And then people not even, because it's unspoken. Oh, you can't talk about that. So then people don't talk about it. And then they go out of their way to provide coverage or to skirt. I'm like, okay, interesting. We got all these so-called leaders. Where are y'all? Civil rights leaders, activists. Activists go out and put themselves on the line when it's not popular. Muhammad Ali was not popular, lost his whole career, but he was not going to Vietnam to fight people because you're my enemy. You're the one keeping me on the back of the bus and deny my rights. I don't know those people over there. Lost everything, was called everything but a child of God. No one loved him until he couldn't speak anymore. But while Muhammad Ali was speaking, that was courage. And then for all of those black athletes to sit with him at that
Strange. Charlie Chaplin, come.
Oh, this one dedicated to all of them and them who sniff them look at this and sniff them look at that. Well, me assure you say drugs is a disgrace and it a take over the whole of the place. Jano, racism, fascism, innocent killing, cocaine, blood stain and heroin smoking, malicious, not no sang cobious, envious, vigorous, very dangerous. Humiliate, less faith and pay pirate, eat food, go to bed. No prayers, no grace. Them no have no class, them no have no taste. Them a use our drugs and a mash up the place. Say me afraid of you. Say drugs man, say me afraid of you. Lord, but you no dread. Say every man have a right to decide his own destiny. Yeah. But soon they will find out Chaplin is the real revolutionary. So me no go no dance around, me no drive no car, no do no slam, me no eat no flowers to play. I'm the lightest nation of Indian. This nation that a black man, the king for the animal that a lion. Me know no history but giant. Purest water river Jordan, who control island like Caribbean. Wickedest soldier Egyptian, me afraid of you. Say drugs man, say me afraid of you, Lord. Some dull, some sharp, some damn skylark. When come a dance all me know fit talk. Luke some me park at a DJ attack. Papa Chaplin lad at the DJ bar. Lone Ranger no blind to wearing mask just because him hide them cat. Stand up on a big white house, so look out for when them trouble a pass. Afraid of you. Say drugs man, say me afraid of you, Lord. So racism, fascism, innocent killing, cocaine, blood stain and heroin smoking, malicious, not no sang cobious, envious, vigorous, well dangerous. Humiliate, less faith and pay pirate, eat food, go to bed. No prayers, no grace, so no have no class, so no have no taste. Them a use our drugs and a mash up the place. The only thing I tell you that them accumulate is a smaga body and one big bony face. Say me afraid of you, drugs man, Papa Chaplin, afraid of you, smash it. Me say me afraid of you, drugs man, make me tell you, say me afraid of you. So let me tell you, say me afraid of you. La, say me no take no drugs, we go booze up myself and I go on like a Heineken, no back up and shell. Me come in at the place and me nice it up, just so that say the people them just a do bubble up. Then grab them liquor and them start the sub, and then them hold them girlfriend and then them hug her up. Me say me afraid of you, drugs man, Papa Chaplin, afraid of you. And so me say me afraid of you. La. So me no go no dance around. Me no drive no car, no do no song. Me no eat no flowers, we play. I'm the lightest nation of Indian, strongest nation that a black man, the king for the animal that a lion. Me do no history about Zion, purest water river Jordan, the wickedest soldier Egyptian who control island Arabian. Me afraid of you, hey, dogs man, me afraid of you. Like Hooper Chaplin, afraid of you. From dusk till dawn, say me afraid of you. Me have to rock and come on, come me afraid of you. Me have to call me salon, come me afraid of you. Do it, yeah. Dogs man, me afraid of you. So me say rock it, me say rock it. So me say stank it, make me skank it. And me say don't beat me, you don't beat. Can't kill yourself, me rub it, me say rub it. A drugs man can't stand. Inna this ya Armageddon. Now we righteous man have to stand. And this one have to
Guidance.
live no